Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk again about referencing. This is the second video about referencing, and this is about referencing in academic writing. So the first video focused on citations in a text, and this is going to talk about reference lists. Now let's look at the difference between them here. So first of all, let's revise a little bit about referencing. So why do we reference? To avoid plagiarism. So plagiarism is copying, basically copying someone else's work and passing it off as your own. And the second reason is to show you have read widely. So to show that you're not just giving your own opinions, you are looking at the best available information on the topic. So referencing really means, as we said in the first video, giving credit to the sources of information that you use to write your assignment or your assessment. So in the first video we looked at citations, which is in-text references. For example, referencing is important to show that you have read widely. These are not your words, these are the words of Murphy from his or her book, 2014, page 45. So if you use a quote in your assignment, you use the quotation marks here, and then you have to give credit to the person who said it. So you give their name, year of publication, and the page number. So we explored all of this in the first video. You can check that out again. Today we're going to focus on a reference list or bibliography. So the difference. Number one was citations, which is in the text of your assignment. This is at the end of the assignment, and you need to give a list. A list of all the works that you have referenced in the assignment. Now, works here does not just mean books. It can mean websites, it can mean videos, it can mean articles, journals, etc. So anything you've used to write your assignment. So let's look at an example of a reference list. And here we have, this is a book, another book, another book, and here is a website. So remember that you have to reference a website if you take something from that too. We will look at how to reference these in more detail now. So a book, first of all. You start with the surname of the author and then the initial. Year of publication in these round brackets. The title of the book in italics. Remember, italics is here. You can find it here. Location of where it was published and the publisher's name. So let's look at an example. Breen is the surname of the author. D is the initial. The year is 2019 in the round brackets. A Guide to Good Writing is the title of the book, and it's in italics. Again, italics is here. Belfast, the location of publication. Earn Press, the publisher. So this is just to allow somebody who is reading your work to find your sources. If they want to look, if they want to read this book or to find out a little bit more information, this is all the information they need to find the book. Let's look at a website, how to reference a website. So it looks a little more complicated, but it's actually the same idea. Author or organization to start with, the year. Now, often on a website, there's no date of publication, so you just put ND for no date. That's if there isn't a date. The title or the article or the blog post, again in italics. This is italics. Location of location of where it was published, if you know it. Again, if it's online, then maybe it doesn't have a location. And the publisher or organization that has published it. Again, if you know it. And then you have to put down the URL, the website address. And when you accessed this information, date accessed, and this is usually in these square brackets here. there and here, and that should be on your keyboard to the right of your keyboard. So let's look at an example. Again, the author, same convention as for the book. Here it's ND, because it's no date. Title of the blog post or article. It's Harvard, so it's Boston. Harvard University is the organization. And then available from. And this is the URL, the website address. And then when you looked at it, accessed July 2020 in these square brackets. So that's the only difference really for the website. It's slightly different. So a bibliography. What is a bibliography? Well, it's basically the same thing as a reference list. You'll be told by your lecturer or by your assessor or your teacher what they want for your assignment. Is it a reference list or a bibliography? Bibliography is very similar to a reference list, but it includes sources you consult but do not cite in the text. So a reference list really only has to contain the things that you have cited, the things you have quoted in the text of your assignment. The bibliography has more information. So maybe you haven't actually quoted or cited this source of information, but you have used it to build your assignment. So often it could be a YouTube video. And again, what we do is we give the author or the organization the year of publication of the video, the title of the video, if it's on YouTube, it usually has a title, and then we just put video in brackets, the square brackets. And again, URL, website address, and when you accessed it, when you looked at it, when you used the information. So very similar to the website. Really, when you're quoting a website or you're referencing a website, it's very similar. The only difference really is you have to just put in video here in these square brackets. So that's it, just to revise, just to summarize. Citation is in text, within the text of your assignment. The reference list is at the end. And it's a list of all of the works you have cited in your assignment. Usually it's author's name, initial, year, title, where published, publisher. In that order. A website, pretty much the same, but you have to include the URL. You have to include the website address and when you accessed it. For a YouTube video, you just include the word video in brackets. And a bibliography, remember, is all of the sources that you have looked at, even if you haven't quoted them in the text. That's our video for today. If you want any more in-depth information about referencing, you can just Google FESS Referencing Handbook, and you will get a long document with a lot of information on this. But what I've put in the video here is a summary. So thanks for watching.